The High Crusade by Poul Anderson. So this book was copyright 1960, and I have this Manor Books edition of this vintage paperback. And I will pause here for a second on the back if you want to read that. This book only clocks in at 160 pages. And I gotta say, it was exactly what I needed. This is a fun, entertaining read. It goes places you really wouldn't expect it to. It's got some humor thrown in it, but it's not... It's the kind of humor I like in my science fiction. And when I go into the pros and cons, I'll kind of try to explain that a little bit more. But it was a great book, and I'm really glad I read it. I've liked almost everything I've read from Poul Anderson, and he does have a really big range, it seems like. He writes fantasy, hard science fiction, books like this, and everything in between. So what is this book about? Well, this book takes place in the year 1345, and we have a group of Englishmen and women who are in this village, and they're kind of preparing to go down to France because there's this big war going on, and they're going to go take part in this war. Now, real early on in the book, an alien spaceship lands right next to this village, and we come to find out that these aliens, they're these blue kind of short aliens, and they're from a planet called Gorix, and they've been kind of scouting and looking for planets to take over. They're not that friendly. They want to take over Earth, and who knows what they're going to do with it, but they're a bit hostile. So they land, and they instantly try to take over our group of villagers. But what we find out is, since they have such high technology, they've kind of lost the ability to fight hand to hand. They also have some shielding and some technology that prevents them being killed by like projectiles or these high advanced weapons that their civilization uses. But when it comes to like physical objects like swords and axes and stuff like that, their technology and their shielding doesn't work. So they come into this village, and they just get decimated by our English villagers. You know, just, I think there was like couple hundred of these aliens, and they just destroy them. And they left one alien because they think they might want to interrogate him, and they find out they can't really speak English, of course, you know. So there's this kind of language barrier that they're trying to figure out in the beginning of the book. And the narrator of the story, well, he's kind of the main character, and he's kind of a scholar in this village, and you know, he's religious and kind of integrated into that part of the village. And so he becomes kind of the main interpreter. He tries to learn some of the alien language, and he tries to teach the alien some of their language. And one of the funny aspects of this book, and this is a good example, is our 13th century Englishmen, you know, they're really set in their ways. They think all of this can be explained by their worldview. So they think that this blue alien is a demon, and when he can't speak English, they say, well, let's speak Latin to him, because all demons know how to speak Latin. And when that doesn't work, they're just confused, but they still go about their business. They still think this is just some demon sent from Satan, and you know, they need to kill him. So that's kind of part of the humor of this book. It's not slapstick humor, it's not jokes, it's this difference between these 13th century Englishmen and this highly advanced alien race, and how they mingle together. So real early on, still in the book, the leader of the village, his name is Sir Roger. After decimating all these aliens, he says, hey, we can hop in this ship and we can go to France and get there right away. And everyone agrees. They load up the whole village. They load up the animals in the ship, everything. And since they don't know how the ship works, they have the blue alien. His name is Branathar, I believe. They need him to kind of pilot the ship. So they get in there and they take off, and then he throws this switch that puts the ship on autopilot and sends them back to the alien homeworld. And all controls are locked out, and there's nothing that our English heroes can do about it. They're stuck in this ship heading all the way back across vast amounts of space to this alien homeworld. You know, this whole time they're trying to even realize what's going on. You know, this alien, he finally tells them that the stars are suns with planets around it, and they're kind of like, what is this guy talking about? You know, not even the Greeks can think up something that absurd. And so it's like that kind of humor in it that's carried throughout the whole book. But anyways, they end up making it back to the alien homeworld, and what they discover there is that this alien race has kind of been taking over planets and putting these other alien races under their rule, doing things that are hostile and subjugating these other alien races underneath them. And they've done it for a long time, and there's, I think, 2 or 3 other alien races that this main alien race had discovered and, you know, taken under their control. And now Earth was kind of like their next one that they were going to take over before they got waylaid. So our heroes land on this alien planet, and that's kind of where I'm going to leave it. There's a lot that goes on. You know, I'm probably only maybe a quarter into the book at this point. So the majority of this book is what this group of English villagers does when they make it onto this homeworld. Now you have this oppressive alien race. You've got planets all over that are under their rule. And you have their high technology against swords and a lot of bravado, a lot of bold action from our heroes, some bluffing, all these things that lead into a lot of the humor and interesting aspects, I think, of this book. It was a joy to read, like I said, and that as you read forward, you'll get resolution on what happens with this oppressive alien race, what happens to the other alien cultures, what happens to our heroes, do they ever make it back to Earth? Because when they killed all the aliens that landed on Earth, minus the one they left, they had killed all the navigators of the ship. They had kind of lost some records of how those aliens had got to Earth. So they're kind of stranded out on this alien planet, and they don't know the way back to Earth. And they're kind of trying to figure that out at the same time. So you'll get resolution to all that plot, and you'll just have a lot of fun reading through the whole thing, I think. So to me, the prose for this one is easy. This was fun. It was entertaining. It had some really cool ideas. It went places you didn't think it was going to go. It kept you entertained the whole way through. It's only 160 pages. The writing was good. The dialogue was good. It wasn't too absurd. There was a few little absurdities and stuff in there, but I didn't get absurdity fatigue or anything like that. It was really just thoroughly a joy to read. As far as cons go, you know, there was no real deep themes. There wasn't... This isn't really a thought-provoking book that really makes you think about, you know, yourself or alien cultures or what it would be like to travel across space. You know, the science is pretty light when it comes to this book. You know, they don't explain the faster than light travel or anything like that, but that's not what this book's really about. It's about having fun, and it really succeeded in that one. So that's about where we're at there. I'm going to give this one 4 stars. You know, it was just a lot of fun, but like I said, it wasn't mind-blowing. So if you see a copy, if you haven't read that before, I think anybody that watches my channel, if you're in the mood for something a little bit more lighthearted, but yet still interesting with a good plot and some fairly good characters, and this is one you should definitely pick up. And next up, I'm on to Beyond Apollo by Barry N. Malzberg. So just look for that review coming out next, and once again, thanks for watching.